and of course, Bwana Paul Rege, paper chair. Karibu.
Thanks, MC Okari. I had to look around and see who this is that is taking my place when he was introducing the paper chair, because that is not me. But anyway, my name is Paul Rege. I work with Madison Life. I head the retirement benefits segment of Madison Life Insurance. I'm here to represent my MD, Mr. Ngaruya, who was not able to be here with us. And I hope I will be able to do what he would have done. And for that matter, I know I'm in good hands, because when I was given the profile of the two lovely ladies who are taking us through the next session, the profiles are long. Yeah. And when I tried to summarize, I was coming up with about 20 pages after the summary of their CVs. But I'm not going to read the 20 pages. I think I want to pick some of the highlights from these two CVs that I think are very necessary for the next session that we're going to have. And I know a lot of us growing up in the insurance industry, there was this talk of the customer service department. But I think what these two lovely ladies are coming to tell us is that the service, the financial services world is actually moving away from customer service to customer experience, or customer delight, as we have called it for this conference. And therefore, we have Dr. Lucy, who will be coming in to share with us. And as well, we have Madam Wabi. I will tell you some of the things that are very congruent about these two. First of all, just pre-session get together. I learned that they're actually friends. So imagine two friends doing the same thing. How lovely that can get, that we are actually going to be listening to two friends who are actually in the same field and enjoying what they do. When you will see them, you will yourself be happy about what you're just about to hear before you hear it. I was excited about it. So Dr. Lucy is a well-rounded management practitioner, business strategist, on a mission to inspire change within the businesses that she interacts with. She is a leading CX thought leader. CX is the short of customer experience. And I know she's also a founding member of the ICX, the Institute of Customer Experience. Madam Wabi, on the other hand, as well, is a board member of ICX. And Madam Wabi, I would like to tell you that your institute actually leads by example. We were honored to have your institute join us when we were rounding up the customer service week. A lovely lady called Angela was at hand just to appreciate what we are doing to clients. And therefore, without much further ado, I think I want to welcome Dr. Lucy to take on. And because there's a seamless transition in the way they want to present this. Remember, I told you, these are people who know each other. These are people who work together. These are people who enjoy delighting customers or inspiring organizations towards customer delight. And therefore, their presentation is going to be flowing from one to the other. And that is why we don't want to break it when they start. We want to have all the juice coming together. Karibu, Dr. Lucy.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Rege. Good morning, insurance professionals. Let me see what other professionals are represented here. Yes, sir. Okay. All right. How many of you are in underwriting or actualists? Let me see by a show of hands. Underwriting, yeah? How many are in claims? Quite a number. How many are in marketing? Quite a number. How many are brokers? Agents? How many are in the regulatory authority? Who else have I left out? Oh, client relationships. Yes, let me see. How many of you are in customer experience? I wanted to see all those hands up, all of them. Because guess what? All of us are really in client relationships. And I'm really delighted to be joining you this morning. I do hope that you all also have been delighted to be part of this particular conference. And when I look back, you know, in the last 2 decades, but I have tried to sell life insurance. Can you believe it? At Primerica Life, we call it income protection. But the most exciting bit of my career life really has been supporting quite a number of insurance companies map out their customer journey. That has been very, very exciting. And that's how I've come to know about claims, about underwriting, and about just about everything that happens within the insurance industry. As I looked through your theme for this particular conference, you know, I'm convinced that one of the emerging trends in the world of insurance is really customer experience or customer centricity or customer focus. And we need to then ask ourselves, with this as an emerging trend, what is it that we can do to get ourselves well aligned for us to be able to leverage it? The theme for our session is customer delight, and we'll be focusing on customer engagement strategies for achieving competitiveness and greater customer satisfaction. So our session really focuses on customer delight, and specifically, we will walk you through an evaluation of customer engagement strategies for achieving competitiveness and greater customer satisfaction. And I welcome all of us to this conversation because we have confirmed that we are all practitioners in the area of customer experience or driving greater customer satisfaction. This is a very interesting statistic. You know, today in Kenya, I learned that there are 58 insurers and reinsurers. Did I get that right? 58, or have they increased? What is the regulatory authority? 58 insurers and reinsurers. Somebody confirm that? Yes? Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you. Yes, and we have millions of existing and potential customers. You can see from that KPMG insurance study of last year that despite us having access to millions of Kenyans, we are only at 3% penetration. I was at an IRA conference about 3 years ago, and it was interesting because then 3 years ago, we were talking about a 4.5% penetration. Is it going down? Really? I got so concerned when I saw that it's now at 3%. And I was like, wow. That study by KPMG goes ahead to say that Kenya's population perceives insurance as a nice to have, easy to discard product rather than one that is essential. And I was like, okay, that's quite interesting. I was looking at the penetration rates in places like South Africa, and they are double-digit numbers. And I would like us as insurance professionals, as customer experience professionals, to really ask ourselves, what do we need to do to hold on to the 3% that we have, but also to be able to delight, to attract more customers. I often say no one needs to sell to me insurance, by the way. I don't need to be sold to insurance. I buy insurance because I know that it is important, because I need to manage risk. So as we go through this conversation, we need to ask ourselves, could it be that if we delighted our customers a little bit more, you know, that they would stay on with us, that they would reach out to us, that they would ask others to buy insurance, that if I meet another entrepreneur like myself and I learn that they have no health insurance, that I'll be the first person to tell them, you know what, you need health insurance. You know what, you need insurance for your house, you need insurance for your household items. As we go through this conversation, I would want us to think about customer satisfaction and customer loyalty. And as we think about that, I want us to consider the times that we live in. We live in a time where our customers are spoiled for choice. If our customer does not renew their motor insurance, by the mind is with CIC, isn't it? Not from CIC. In case I don't renew with CIC, I can move on to Britam or to Jubilee or to Madison. We are spoiled for choice as customers. The other thing that we need to realize in the marketplace today, like for example, to shift my motor insurance from one company to another, it doesn't cost a lot. Yeah, the switching cost is very minimal. So as insurance professionals, as customer experience professionals, we need to realize that we are living in the age of the customer, and we need to ask ourselves, what must we do to hold on to our customers? A lot of times when I hear conversations with the insurance professionals among themselves, when they talk about customers, they talk about that one customer that tried to defraud them. And I usually ask them, what percentage of customers are making you think that most customers want to defraud you? Yeah, I don't know what the numbers look like, but I don't think there are so many of us out here as customers, if I was to speak as a customer, that are really taking that car insurance so that we can defraud you. You know, we are taking that insurance because we know that it is important to us. And remember that we are spoiled for choice. So customer satisfaction really is about meeting our customers' expectations. Our customers have expectations, and when we meet those expectations, we satisfy them. And if we go beyond just meeting the expectations to exceeding those expectations, then we cause customer delight. And customer delight means that the customer feels so good about being your customers that they want to keep coming back again and again. So when you exceed the customer's expectations, or even when you basically just meet their expectations, they feel that they would want to stay on with you. And not just that, that they would want, when their son or their daughter buys a car, they would want to recommend that their son and daughter get an insurance from that particular insurance company for their new car. So this entire linkage does make a major contribution to how competitive we become as an industry, to how competitive we become as insurance companies, as brokers, as agents. And I do believe that with the Insurance Regulatory Authority, your customers are really the insurance companies and every other player in that particular sector. So when we talk about customer satisfaction on your end, you need to look at it from your customer's perspective. So customer satisfaction is a central determinant of customer loyalty. And loyal customers are unquestionably good for business. Loyal customers. You can imagine if you want to double your revenues, if you want to double your customer base, you just ask each of your customers to get you another customer. And loyal customers are ready and willing to recommend you to other customers. And as we dig a little deeper into this conversation, I came across this particular study by McKinsey that says insurers, and I believe it's not just about insurers, but every company, you know, every business that offers a superior customer experience, it is able to beat their peers in terms of the numbers, in terms of profitability, in terms of growth. And I'd like to walk you through that particular link that simply says that when we delight our customers, it means that they will keep coming back to us. It means they'll buy more from us. If I'm having life insurance with one insurance company, why do I need my medical to be elsewhere? With it, I don't know how come. Many of us, I don't know whether it happens with a lot of your customers, Like I deal with about 3 insurance companies, but I wish all my insurance needs were being managed by a single insurance company. You know, I don't need to have medical with this and life insurance with this company and these are the kind of insurance with this other customer company. So when there is customer loyalty, it means when they need to buy a different insurance product, they will keep coming back to us. But above all, this has been seen to contribute, to contribute to our growth, to contribute to our customer retention, to contribute to our profitability, because it becomes easier to manage customers that are satisfied. It becomes easier to manage customers that have been with us for so long. I hope you all know that. Customers that have been with us for so long are easier to manage, and it costs a lot of money to attract new customers. So when we get it right in terms of our customer experience, we reduce the amount of money that we spend to market, to attract new customers, to replace those that choose to leave because of dissatisfaction. And as I move along, I would like to share with you 4 customer delight principles. And when Wavi comes in, she'll be building up on this conversation. And the foundation of customer delight really is having a good understanding of what our customers' needs and expectations are. Do we really have a good understanding? And I'll walk you through a very simple case study that we can then be able to look at a company that is really having a good understanding of its customers' needs. Another key principle in customer delight is having a good understanding of what we are solving for. I have had it mentioned here many times, you're solving for risk. How come you seem like the people who fear the risk the most? What is it that you're solving for? And are you providing a solution that then meets the customer's needs and expectation? Another key principle is making the customer experience as easy as possible. I recently took an insurance cover for household items, and I was telling my agent, why do I need to list all these things again? I thought I had listed them at one time. Why can I not just go somewhere online and make a few adjustments in terms of things that I have in the house that I probably are new? I could add them. Those ones that I don't have anymore, I could eliminate them. So in the world of customer experience, one of the key principles that is really causing customer delight is making it as easy as possible for your customers. One-click purchase. Can somebody buy a one-click insurance? Can I buy a life insurance just by one click? And what would that look like? And then another key principle, and especially in your industry, is on the need to build customer trust. Does the customer trust you now? Do you trust your customer? Because trust is two-way and it's earned over time. What is it that we can do to ensure that Kenyans, in fact, let me now stop talking about even customers, Kenyans, what is it that as insurance professionals we can do to ensure that as Kenyans, we trust our insurance companies and they trust us? It was mentioned by Madam here that we have potential customers, we have then policy holders, then we have before claimants, and then we have complainants. I was like, oh my goodness, that's your customer. Yeah, that's probably the different terminologies that you use to describe your customer. But I would really want you to look at your customer as the person who pays your salaries, by the way. It doesn't matter whether they are a claimant or they are policy holder. At the end of the day, the premiums that they pay, they are the ones that you invest. And from that, you then are able to make an income that is able to sustain your organization. Some of the insurance trends or insurance customer trends that are quite interesting, and this is from a global perspective that I came across. There's one from Accenture there that says that 15% of customers are satisfied with their insurance digital experience, and this is globally. In fact, I would imagine that if we were to do a similar survey just with the Kenyan market, this could be 0.01%. Yeah, 15% of customers are satisfied with the insurance digital experience. So there's a lot that insurance companies need to do to catch up in terms of the use of technology in easing the customer experience. Another statistic by PwC there says 41% of the customers are likely to switch providers due to a lack of digital capabilities. Remember, the customers that you served yesterday are not the same customers you're serving today. You can imagine the customers of 10 years from now. If we do not move with the times, we will be left behind. And I usually like to say technology is the key driver. And I hope you had a great conversation about technology yesterday. It's a key driver on matters customer experience. And the last one, which I like the most, says that 57% of the customers would prefer to hear from their providers at least twice a year. When do most of us as customers hear from our insurance companies? When it is time to renew. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I know it's not about sending a happy customer service week message in between. No. In fact, I usually say, you don't have to send a happy customer service week message, but can you have a contact program where you ensure that somewhere in between, you get to speak to you get to get in touch with your customers, you get to connect with your customers. So it's about automation on that side and keeping yourself connected with your customers. So last year, I had a training in South Africa, and I posed this question to the people that I was training: which company in your country gives the best customer experience? Guess what they mentioned? Discovery. How many of you have heard about Discovery? Let me see by show of hand. Yes, Hey, the people here around here, somebody there at the center. Yeah, what have you heard about Discovery? Is it Catherine? Is that Catherine? What have you heard? Just one thing about Discovery.
About the innovative motor insurance.
Yes, and much more, and much more. And I'm sending you all out to the internet to check out who Discovery is and what they do. What surprised me is that when I got to learn a little bit more about Discovery, I learned that they are a financial services provider, heavily into insurance, not just motor, but life insurance and much more. And I visited a friend of mine that evening, and he told me about his Apple Watch. And he told me, this is actually from Discovery. And Discovery gives me a better insurance cover if I keep tracking how many steps I'm taking per day. You know, there's a whole lot around what is happening with Discovery. And in fact, I was like, when are these guys ever going to come to Kenya? Because if you are to come to Kenya, this will be a game changer in terms of how we do insurance. And Discovery they say that guided by a clear core purpose to make people healthier and to enhance and protect their lives. That's their purpose. And there's something that I picked from their website, for example, where they say you can get rewarded for great driving with up to 50% fuel cashback each month. You know, yesterday there was a very interesting conversation in one of the groups, and I think that conversation came from this particular conference where people were asking, is there a gadget that the insurance companies want to put in our cars so that they can track how we are driving? But did you have that conversation here, Agnes? Yes, you did. Yeah, it got to us, you know, and there's much more. And I would urge you as insurance professionals to think about moving a little faster in terms of innovating in your space, but beyond that, at the individual, okay, hope you can still hear me. At the individual level, what is my call to action? My call to action for all of us as customer experience professionals within the insurance industry is that we need to make greater customer satisfaction our policy. You people have a lot of policies. Please make greater customer satisfaction one of your policies. Ask yourself, are we meeting the needs and expectations of our customers? Are we building a loyal customer base? And when you do that, then you will be able to see an improvement in terms of the penetration rates, in terms of the understanding of insurance within the Kenyan community. And this will happen only if we become truly customer-centric. Only if we put our focus on our customers. And if we do this, then our growth and sustainability will be assured. And being customer-centric It's about our everyday actions. It's about our everyday decisions. It's about building a culture that is focused on the customer. It's about each one of us at the individual level picking up that responsibility to think, to believe, and to act in a way that shows we really care. You know, we care about our customers. We know that they pay our salaries. We know that without them, our organizations would not exist. And with that, I would like to invite my co-presenter, who will be then walking us through some strategies that we could use to get to a greater customer satisfaction. Let us all make greater customer satisfaction our policy. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Lucy Kirusu. I think Paul talked about us being friends. Apart from that, I think I will actually make a clarification and say she's actually my senior in this profession. So as one of the founder board members of the Institute of Customer Experience Kenya, and so some of us have actually grown in our careers looking up to people like Dr. Lucy Kirusu. So it is an honor to come in after her. My name is Wami Mungala. I'm a board member at ICX Kenya. My 8 to 5 job, I actually work for the Higher Education Loans Board. I am in charge, I head the Corporate Communication and Customer Experience Department. And as part of my passion around customer experience, in addition to being a board member, I am a convener for the Customer Experience Possibilitarians group. And that one brings together about 300 heads and directors and managers in the various customer experience fields within various organizations. So in insurance, in banking, in public sector, and in other spaces. So it's something I'm very passionate about. And so that is part of what I work with. So riding from what Dr. Lucy Kirusu has talked about, I'd like for us to have a conversation on practical steps to drive customer engagement. What are the practical steps? She has painted for us a strategic picture. She's given us research insights, right? In terms of us understanding where insurance is sitting from a perspective of customer delight, all right? Now let's drill down into what she has brought out. So practical steps to drive customer engagement. Number one is leadership support. You've got your CEOs here. You've got your heads of departments, your senior officers with regards to our organization. Leadership support at the highest level of organization. And I was very happy that Paul actually talked about the Institute being there during Customer Service Week, and senior leadership was present. You know, it was interesting when we were having a tete-a-tete on the side. He was saying one of the things that our representative from the Institute asked was, how many of us work in customer experience? And guess what? The people who specifically, you know, sit in customer service are the ones who proudly raised their hands because they likely were the ones who are running around with all the activities for Customer Service Week, correct? And then they were told, actually, all of you also have customers. Whether it is a claimant, a complainant, a policy holder, all of those guys are customers. And that's the reason why leadership support at the highest level is necessary. The other thing, number two, is to build a customer experience team to champion the customer experience agenda. Let's not lie to ourselves, guys. Unless you assign somebody this role, are you going to make much progress? Someone must run with it 8 to 5, 7 days a week, 5 days a week, whatever working hours you have. You know, all year. It must sit as a target for someone as their full-time job. And I say that because that's something that I do also as a full-time job. When I joined HELB in 2015, public sector was in a space where we're looking to improve service delivery. And I came from the banking sector, and before that, I actually came from the hospitality sector. I'm actually a trained hotelier, right? So when you're a trained hotelier, service is in your DNA, right? So then the banking sector in around 2007, 2008 was deliberately recruiting from the hospitality sector to improve service delivery. In about 2014, 2015, and Dr. Lucy Kirusu was part of the inaugural teams that were training Huduma centers and things like that. Public sector was being very deliberate about that. And that's the season that I joined the Higher Education Board School. So deliberate agenda to assign this to someone at a senior level who is reporting directly to the CEO and reporting to the board. All right. So then you can be able to run that agenda in that place, in that space. And having it sit in your strategic plan. So for the Higher Education Loans Board, customer-centered leadership is at the center of the strategy. It takes time in public sector, you know, for improvement to happen, but there has to be deliberative. Number 3, engage and align employees. Create a shared understanding of the intended experience. You know, it's one thing for you to understand, as a policy holder, what are you chasing? As a claimant, what are you chasing? You know, as a policy holder, as a potential, first of all, is a potential customer. As a potential customer, you're chasing someone to sign on that dotted line, right? So you will do whatever picky, bonky, you know, things that need to do for that signature to land, right? And then fast forward to when that person is a claimant. Now, it is another set of picky, bonky in terms of trying to make sure that the claim does not get paid, right? So we need to ensure that we engage and align our employees on a shared understanding of the intended experience. And the customer's experience is end-to-end, from when they're a potential customer to the point of disengagement. Are we running exit interviews for our customers? Why are they doing that? Why are they going where they're going? All right. Number 4, embed customer experience throughout the organization. What do I mean by this? Training, incentives, recognition, and rewards. When we talk about training and we talk about, yes, we're gonna, you know, there are new rules and regulations, the regulator has said you need to train on X, Y, Z. Is training for customer experience also a priority? How do we expect to maintain service standards if we don't also prioritize an element of training for customer experience? Incentives. How are our targets wired? Is there an element of service delivery in our targets? Recognition and rewards. We'll actually recognize you and reward you for bringing the most business. Do we also recognize you for retaining? Remember, Dr. Lucy talked about retention. Do we also recognize you for retaining? Out of your portfolio, how many exited? Is there retention? Do we also have an element of recognition for feedback from the customers in terms of how they were served? Which RM had the best feedback from the customers? Is there, you know, a balance between that? Or is it only just sales people? Number 5, we need to drive customer inclusion. The theme for Customer Service Week this year was sustaining customer inclusion. We really need to speak a language that the customer understands. We really must. And I think insurance is very similar to the space that I sat in when I was in banking. The terms and conditions are more than the actual pages of what you require from the customer. And they in font size 2, and they've got part A. Yes, subsection, I don't know what, right? We need to drive customer inclusion. Let me give a specific example about where that. You remember when Garissa was hit by the terror attack, right? Over 100 students died. 90-something of those were our beneficiaries. Our act actually had a section that allowed us to take some element of insurance. It had just never been operationalized. Okay? So there was a conversation at the board level, and a lot of questions were asked. So what do we do about this? We know terror attacks are real, right? So what are we doing about this? So there's a lot of conversation about, do we get an insurance company? How do we go about it? At the end of it all, we actually opted to run it in-house, and we recruited someone from the insurance industry to come on board. And we had to speak the customer's language in the sense that we actually did not tell them that this is insurance for your loan. We actually call it a student loan self-protection scheme. We needed to speak in a manner that they would actually understand. Remember, these are students who are what, 19, 18. Otherwise, they will start accusing us of hiding. You know how people say that there are hidden costs, right? And we took time to actually take them through that. So before you actually go through your online application form, there is an opportunity for you to go through the terms and conditions, not the ones for font size 2. We actually run them either as a presentation or as a PDF document that you can read. And then after it is done, you need to answer a set of questions, and you need 70% to pass by 70% for you to proceed with the loan application. So there it tells you this is a loan, this is the interest rate. We have got a student loan self-protection scheme. Gosh, it's even off. Student loan self-protection scheme, and this is how much is going to be deducted from your loan at the point of disbursement. So then they can actually go through that, and it is mandatory. You cannot apply for that loan without it. So we had to find a way. So then someone does not say, you guys, there are things that you did to us. Number 6, become a better listener. Become a better listener. Are we truly listening to our customers? Are we issuing feedback forms for the sake of issuing feedback forms? What do we do about that feedback? And that's where closed looping comes in. You actually pick that feedback, do something about it, and then you'll be able to see some improvement. I'll talk a little bit about what ICX does to support conducting of surveys in my next slide. Number 7, technology and customer centricity must intersect. Dr. Lucy already talked about this. We really need to serve the customer at their convenience. And I can tell you, for us, customers give us and students, it's interesting. Our target audience is technically the youth, 18 to 24 when they're applying, and 25 to 34 when they should repay. The keyword here being should. And during COVID, during the lockdown period, we had to figure out a way to make subsequent loan application easier. When we had it in our strategic plan to happen sometime in 2023, we had to fast track it. So we had to run end-to-end subsequent loan application on mobile app. And we're so excited to tell students, it is now on mobile app. Imagine you don't have to touch any piece of paper and what have you. And then they came back and told us, mobile app, do you know the kind of phone that we have? By the time I download the app, it has filled my phone, let alone me applying for that application of yours. And who are you dealing with? You're dealing with a student who's very needy, who sometimes not even using their phone. They don't have a phone yet. Or if they do, they have a cheap feature phone. So then we had to get back quickly on the drawing board and roll out USSD. All right? So really for us, it was about technology and customer centricity intersecting in a way that actually serves them. I'll go back again to what Dr. Lucy Kivufu asked. If we in public sector can get rid of paper like that, is it possible for us at the point of renewing? Must I fill out all those details like when she was talking about covering the goods in her house? Is there a way we can make some of these things easier that is convenient for us as customers? Now, beyond those practical strategies, it is one thing for us to talk about our external customer. But our experience has shown that your external customer can only truly be served when your internal customer is sorted, right? So there's customer experience, which is CX, and then there is EX, which is employee experience. So how do we manage our employee experience? So that then we can achieve competitiveness and greater customer satisfaction, as our topic is. And I'd like to present one thing: collaboration. Collaboration. Madam Mary talked about silos, right? A lot of our institutions have got challenges with silos. Different departments and people are holding on to their stuff. They don't want to share. You know, how do we create cultures of collaboration in our organization? So what is collaboration? It really is a work style that helps us to be able to work together and achieve our common goal. Why is it important? More often than not, we tend to talk about teamwork. How many of us, our values here have got, our organizations have got teamwork as a value? There you go, I'm seeing hands up. Teamwork. Teamwork. And then if you're asked, now this teamwork, how exactly are we going to go about it? It becomes very complicated. Yeah? So one time I was actually trying to break down this whole conversation of teamwork. And this is how I ended up discovering about collaboration. All right? And it's really the essential part of teamwork. And it helps successful teams function effectively. There's a study that was conducted by Stanford University that found that participants who worked collaboratively were able to stay with a task 64% longer than those who worked independently. Now, it's one thing to talk about it theoretically. I'd like to, real quick, in the next few minutes, take us through some principles of effective collaboration by a gentleman called Frank Ford. In 2020, during lockdown, there was plenty of time for us to read it. Yeah? So I ran across this article. Principle number one is the principle of action together. You know, there's a saying that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. Yeah? If you want to go far, go together. Right? Then there's the principle of action now. You really must find a way to prioritize what needs to be done now. Not everything can be done at the same time. Then there's the principle of fluid roles. Yes, I know we sit in a regulated space and there has to be some designated roles for certain people. But surely there can be some element of fluidity. Do we have an element of where people learn what the other person is doing and should be able to take over? Do we have deliberate rotation as part of our HR policies? Again, this is about people, guys. Because unless you sort out how you work, then customer experience will not work very well. Number four, the principle of shared clarity. Are we all on the same page? Or am I looking at the customer as a claimant and this other person is looking at the customer as a potential client? Right? The principle of experimentation. There's a theory of fail fast, fail forward. That we have to allow for some element of experimentation and try not to do things. The example I gave about mobile app and then USSD. So yes, it might work to some extent, but unless you try it, then you will not be able to get feedback and move forward. The principle of full attention. Once we have prioritized, then can we actually get a project done end to end? I don't know about you, But organizations tend to be crippled by projects that were started but never quite ended. And if you ask what happens, no one really knows. Guys got reassigned to other hot burning things. The principle of interruption control is linked to the principle of full attention. And finally, the principle of finish. Really need to figure out how to get things done. Really must finish what we start. Otherwise, the customers will come back to us and say, you promised, but you did not do. And one of the things that we are seeing as an institute around Customer Service Week is that now Kenyans are even going on Twitter. We all know Kenyans on Twitter are rough. They actually chased our former president out of Twitter. Yeah, they are rough. They are telling us now, you give me cake and you give me sweets during Customer Service Week, and then after that you go back to default setting. They're really challenging, right? So for me, is to go back again and remind us that it is important for us to remember to have practical strategies for engagement and to remember to put the employee experience at the center. Because unless we sort out employee experience, then customer experience is going to remain a problem. So pick the principles of collaborations that we have shared and find a way to institute that in the organization. And I think session chair, Paul Reggie, you allow me just one last minute to be able to just talk briefly about who Institute of Customer Experiences. I know the Madison group received us. The other guys might be wondering, who are these guys? So who is ICX? We have a board. The board is actually chaired by the CEO of Unga Limited, Mr. Joseph Choke. We have got Sheila Mogusia from KRA, myself, at the end there. Then we've got Juguna Mburu, Steve Mbuthia, and Lois Mo, who are consultants in the various fields. Juguna is a HR. There's linkages between, this was deliberate composition, linkages between customer experience and HR, linkages between customer experience and emotional intelligence, and such like. So who are we? We are a professional body for customer experience. We have both corporate and individual members, and we facilitate CX professional development for individuals and corporates. We deliver customer experience best practice advisory. We champion a culture of service excellence in Kenya, and we provide benchmarking opportunities. Our core mandate is customer experience advocacy, thought leadership, membership development, rewards, and recognition. Just a few activities that we do for our members. We hold forums for sharing best practice. We hold roundtable discussions, and we have them in different sectors. So you find that we'll have a health care, industry roundtable. We'll have a public sector roundtable. Okay, and so we'll invite the customer experience practitioners from that space. We also organize study tours so that then members can be able to learn and benchmark from others. This was from a visit that we had done at Safaricom contact center. They run contact centers of 1,200 plus. When you're struggling to figure out how to sort out your 30-seater contact center, you go there and you get encouraged. We do training programs, whether it's for entry level, mid-level, senior level leadership. And we also partner with international trainers to be able to provide our members. One of the partnerships that we have that has been working well for our members is a customer journey mapping masterclass. So then our members can be able to understand how to map customer journeys within their institutions. We also organize corporate talks for members with specific topics. We've had Sadi Bindra come to speak to us. We also invite, there's a pool of pre-qualified trainers that the Institute has and that we recommend based on the needs that the members present. This was one that we did during Customer Service Week for my organization, where it was very specific about service level agreements and service charters. So we actually get as specific as that. We've also previously organized CEO forums. I know the last one we did was before COVID. We now need to pick this up again. The gentleman on the right is actually my CEO, and then you can see Mugo Kibati. Health CEO is CPA Charles Shengera. So again, just having conversations, because unless we bring our CEOs to the table, sometimes having this agenda becomes complicated. We also hold an annual conference And I'm saying all this so that then when your CX people come and ask about these things, you have got some level of familiarity and you provide them the support. We spearhead customer service week. Paul already talked about that from the Madison group. This evening, actually, we are actually holding our annual gala dinner, the Institute of Customer Experience. We usually close the customer service week. We give guys a week to settle down because last week, all of customer experience guys were running around like headless chicken. And then this evening, all of us are going to come together, have a conversation, share our experiences, and go from there. We also do research, studies, surveys, and from next year, we are partnering with Kenya Accreditation Service so that we can be able to run service excellence audits and certifications for institutions. So we shall be doing that from next year. And finally, once we roll out that whole audit space for service excellence, we want to revamp our service excellence awards so that then we can be able to celebrate service excellence across corporate organizations and individuals. In case you want to get in touch with us, those are our contacts. Our website is icxkenya.co.ke. Thank you very much. Back to the session.
A round of applause to our co-presenters. So I think I do not have to swallow back my words. I was seated down there and listening to the two ladies talk. And just the way they express these things, I'm sure these are stuff, you know, but just the way it comes out and flowing from Dr. Lucy's presentation, the things we need to do, and then on to Madam Wabi's presentation, how we need to do these things, quite refreshing for me. Some of the things that I pick is really that customers are spoiled for choice. I think in the insurance marketplace, this can't be further from the truth. I know we have more insurance companies than some of the economies of this region and of the world that are bigger than us. So that certainly presents a competition issue for us. And therefore, what I pick from that is customer loyalty is quite key. And then Dr. Lucy then went on to tell us some of the principles that we needed to employ when we really want to delight our customers. I picked 4, which was understand the problems that they have so that then you can craft the right solutions for them. And then while at that, make the conversation easy, make the customer journey easy. And in the process, build a lot of trust with your clients, because the client that trusts you is the client that stays, and the client that stays is the client that makes you money. And then she also mentioned that we have opportunities in digitization. And I know within the financial services industry, we've somewhat lagged behind as the insurance industry, but I know we are catching up and catching up really fast. But then from Madam Wavi's presentation, you then realize that that technology-driven conversation with your client also must meet the needs of the client. You can be having all these flashy digitization programs, but then when you approach your client with it, it's of no use. And for some of you who have been in these IT programs, you know they don't come cheap. And then she talked about being very intentional and deliberate about CX delivery. 2 things that stood out for me is that we must have customer inclusion. So we must stop the small fund. And I know, if I speak for the pension industry, I know we have tried doing that a little. And some of the products that we currently have are in font 12.
Not 2.
Not 2, they're in font 12. And I know Pauline will support me on this from the ASHI Secretariat, because we have market committees that actually deal with some of these issues. And therefore, we want to encourage that all those, all the aspects of the industry, then take these customer inclusion seriously. And then finally, I think employee experience stood out for me, so that, in fact, we should be talking more about employee experience than even customer delight. And I think there's one quote that has been attributed to Richard Branson in the social media quite a bit, that you really need to take care of your employee, make your employee happy, and then you don't have to worry about the client. Because when your employee is happy, they'll want to pass on that. It's what we call in mathematics, the law of transitivity. It happens here, and therefore it holds when it goes forward. My employee is happy, and therefore when I'm servicing the client, I am extending that happiness to the client. And then the principle of collaboration, 2 actions, prioritization. Not everything can be done at the same time. Those were her words. And I would like to talk to us, because when I look around the room, I see quite a bit of senior faces. And there's this thing of by close of business today. So we must really be very intentional about that. What are these that we must deliver by close of business? And what are these that can take a little bit of a backseat so that we deal with the more important things first? And then experimentation. We must allow that as well. And we are risk managers, and therefore we can be able to allow it within acceptable bounds. Takes me back to a conference or a workshop that I was attending, and one of the presenters was a lady then who was in charge of R&D at Safaricom. And she told us about 5% of Safaricom's turnover is dedicated to R&D. So by the time you see Fuliza coming on, and it is a success, by the time you see all these products that Safaricom is rolling out, because Safaricom, I think, has transcended from being a telecommunications company to a financial services company now. And pretty much we'll start, actually, I think we have started competing with Safaricom for some of the products that we have. Mm-hmm. And they say there's quite a bit that never sees the light of day, but it is acceptable. And there's a budget for that failure. So again, I think we need to be inviting our budget decision makers so that they can allow us to fail, but within reasonable bounds. So with that, I think I'll take it back to you for any questions that you might have for my 2 presenters.
I would like to make some clarification with regard to the penetration of insurance. Kenya is in fact has the 5th highest penetration of insurance in Africa, because South Africa is leading in penetration at 18%. Namibia, 6.7%, followed by Morocco, 4.5%. Mauritius is at 3.68%, then Kenya is at 2.8%. Africa average is 2.7%. Those are the highs. The lows, we have Ghana at 1%, Algeria and Uganda at 0.8%, and Tanzania at 0.53%. On the structure of the industry, we have a total of 61 insurance institutions. General insurance business has 32, long-term insurance business has 18 companies, and composites have 6%. Regarding the question of whether the penetration rate in Kenya is going down, because it stayed at 3.5% for quite a long time, then came to 2.4%. What happened? This is because of the rebasing of Kenya's economy, where 2 major sectors, foreign remittances and telecommunications were introduced into the calculation of the GDP, and this expanded GDP, and that's how the penetration rate went down. Thank you.
Thanks for those clarifications. Any further questions? Clarifications?
Just a follow-up from what you have presented. I would like to know how is the bank penetration? What I would like you to clarify is on the issue of the bank. As we compare ourselves with the bank, the people who have the bank account are getting the policy orders.
I'm sorry to say this. One bank only, that is Kenya Commercial Bank. The deposits in Kenya Commercial Bank is several times larger than the total gross direct premium income of the insurance industry, the entire insurance industry. Only one bank. So I don't know where the rate started business.
I think that explains it. We don't have to go into the percentages. And we have several leading banks for that matter. So if KCB alone is already beating the whole of the insurance industry, we have a lot of catching up to do. I think he has a follow-up question.
We will allow just one because of the limitation of time, and we can close. That's okay.
I just want to clarify one thing. Actually, what?
This is a challenge because you have seen banks have started joining us doing the insurance. So you can be sure where we are going. Because if they have all those grants and they'll give them policy, then they are going to take over our policy orders.
I think that's a plus for us because when it's Equity Life, that is an insurance company, and it's joining us on the other side. So it means our book is growing. Yes.
Thank you, Mike. I just wanted to make a comment. So I work for an association in the Eastern and Southern region of Africa, and what I have seen is that underwriters tend to compete, whereas reinsurers collaborate. So mine is a challenge to all the leaders here. If we want to work on our insurance penetration, then we must collaborate. We are not competitive, but what I have seen, you compete, you do not collaborate. Could you follow the reinsurance example?
Thank you, Madam Rose, for that. And I think that should close our question and answer session. But of course, if you have any further questions, you can send them to the Secretariat, and we will ensure that the answers flow back to you. Thank you very much. A round of applause.
Really amazing. Thank you, Paul. At some point, I was threatened that you are looking a better MC. So thank you.